Good morning, class. Today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020, and we will continue today's lesson on solving system of equations by the elimination method. So I'm going to do 3 examples for today's lesson and then assign some practice problems. And good luck, and remember, take your time and always check your work. Okay, so our first system is negative 4x minus 2y equals negative 12, and 4x plus 8y equals negative 24. And for this system, it's a pretty simple one because both of them are in standard form. And here we have opposite coefficients, which is great because that means we can go ahead and eliminate one variable by adding. So I'm just going to put the addition sign right below. We're going to add throughout. So when we say negative 4 plus positive 4, that eliminates the x variable. So we can cross that out. Then we do negative 2 plus 8, which is 6y. And then negative 12 plus negative 24 is negative 36. And then solving for y, we're going to do the inverse operation, divide by 6. Y is equal to negative 36 divided by positive 6 is negative 6. So with that, we have one variable, y is equal to negative 6. So I'm actually going to focus in on this second equation to go ahead and plug that y value in there and solve for x. So I'm going to rewrite it. 4x plus 8y equals negative 24. And remember, we determined already that y is equal to negative 6. So we are going to put negative 6 where the y was and rewrite. So we've got 4x plus 8 times negative 6 equals negative 24. Well, 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. 4x equals negative 24. So we've got 4x plus negative 48 equals negative 24. I want to go ahead and solve for x. So I'm going to do the opposite of minus 48, which is plus 48. What I do to one side, I do to the other. That eliminates. I've got 4x is equal to negative 24 plus 48 is 24. Then I divide both sides by 4. 4 divided by 4 is just 1x. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So my answer to the first problem is 6, negative 6. So I'll kind of zoom out there. That is example 1. And that was a simple example because the coefficients were opposite. The next 2 examples, we're not going to have that luxury of having opposite coefficients. Okay. All right, number 17. Okay. Number 17 is a case where we have negative 7x minus 8 equals 9 and negative 4x plus 9y equals negative 22. So in this case, we're looking at our coefficients and none are opposite. The opposite of negative 7 is positive 7. We don't have that luxury. The opposite of negative 8 is positive 9. We don't have that luxury. So let's look at these 2 coefficients. Let's look at 8 and 9. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do the y's on this. So if I was to find going back to middle school, if I was going to find the least common multiple of 8 and 9, I would just list out the multiples. But the easy way to do that is just do 8 times 9, and that's going to be 72. So how do I get 72 here is my question with the 8 and 9. Well, I'm going to multiply this by positive 9, the whole side of that equation. And when you say multiply by 9, yeah, I'm going to increase this equation by 9 times its value. So I'm multiplying this by 9, this by 9, and this by 9. And I'm going to rewrite that. How did I get that 9? Remember, 8 times 9 is 72, okay? Because we want these coefficients to equal 72. One being negative 72, the other being positive 72. That's how I arrived at that. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite that equation. doing the operations. And when I increased it by 9, it turned out to be this, because if I multiplied everything by 9, I would get this answer, because 9 times 7, negative 63, 9 times negative 8, negative 72, and 9 times 9, 81. All right, for the next coefficient, remember I need 72 positive, so how do I get that? Well, I multiply by 8. The whole equation, okay? So, I'm just going to rewrite that, multiplying by 8, and 22 times 8, 176, so that's negative 176. All right, so all that work allowed me to get the coefficients to be opposite. Now I can go ahead and eliminate by the addition method. So I'm going to add, and when I do that, negative 63 plus negative 32 is negative 95. X. The y's eliminate because negative 72 plus positive 72 just disappears. So then 81 plus negative 176 is negative 95. And now I can go ahead and solve for x by dividing both by negative 95. And I get x is equal to 1. So that was a little bit of extra work, but again, that's what you have to do when you don't have the coefficients that are opposites, okay? So my x value is 1. Now the easy part is this: I'm going to take this this second equation, I'm going to put a 1 there where x was, and then I'm going to solve for y. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite that down below it. Negative 4x plus 9y equals negative 22. Remember, we've already determined the x value being, positive 1, so we're just going to put a 1 in place of the x. Okay, and then we are going to solve for y. So negative 4 times 1, negative 4, plus 9y equals negative 22. Go ahead and box in this sign in front so we don't get that confused with the negative. So how do I get rid of a negative 4? Well, the inverse operation is plus 4. I've got 9y equals negative 22 plus 4 is negative 18. Divide both by 9 now. Y is equal to negative 2. So my solution for the second system, which is number 17 on your practice problems, is 1, negative 2. Let's start by that. So kind of zoom out, let you see all the work that I did. Again, that's where the coefficients are not opposites. So you have to make them opposites, but I like to say using least common multiple. Okay, all right, we'll do one more example. Okay, so here we have the coefficients that are not opposites. We needed a negative 8 there. We have negative 6. We have an 8. We have a 14 and a negative 7. So let's think about the easiest way, because yes, we could do 8 times 6, but that would give us really big numbers. We could also think about that 8 can go into 24, so we would need to say 8 times 3 and then negative 6 times 4. We could do that, but probably the easiest way is think about this. How do we get a negative 14 here? Well, we multiply by 2. We double it. So if we double, we have to double the whole equation, okay? So we get negative 12x minus 14y equals negative 20. So I doubled my whole equation, and now I'm just going to take my first equation and rewrite it down below it. And that allows me to go ahead and eliminate the y variable by adding, because we have opposite coefficients, which are negative 14 and plus 14, so that can eliminate the y variable. Then I just add throughout. Negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4x. Negative 20 plus 4 is negative 16. Go ahead and solve for x there by dividing by negative 4. x is equal to 4. Okay, so we have our first point. Remember, we need an x and a y. We got our x being 4, so we're going to plug it in there. So I'm going to rewrite that bottom equation, or the top equation actually. And I'm just going to replace the 4 where the x was, and then of course I'm going to solve for y. So 8 times 4 plus 14y equals 4. Go ahead and do that. 32 plus 14y equals 4. And remember, I'm solving for my y variable. So the inverse of 32 is to subtract 32. That disappears. I've got 14y equals 4 minus 32 is negative 28. Then I divide by 14. 14 divided by 14 is 1y. And negative 28 divided by 14 is negative 2. So my solution for number 17 is 4, negative 2. Now today I went ahead and had the solutions for you, one on the paper. Again, we know all the answers to the questions. The thing is, how do we solve them? That's the key point. Okay, so go ahead and practice these. Remember, you can take a picture and send me your work, and that way you get full credit. Good luck and have a great rest of your day. Again, this is Thursday, April 16th through 2020. Thank you. This is for Mr. Bradford.